Varsity Girls Fall 2015. After week 1, we are looking at the releases here, checking to see where the handle is pulling into the body, and watching for a nice clean circle out away from the body on its journey to the catch. We're going to be picking apart some individual strokes and also highlighting some of the ones that kind of follow in the pattern we're looking for. We hope this is helpful.
Alright, so looking at this in slow-mo, you guys can really watch the path of your handle coming in towards your body, where it goes, and then as it's leaving, what your handle heights are doing. So if you look here, no one is really making any large circles. We have Lena's making a little bit of a downward motion, but it might even be happening a little early if you watch your blade. It starts to come out just a little bit early. That's not bad though. That one was a pretty good stroke. So coming through, if we look at Camille, you're coming in, pulling in nice and high and firm, but there's not much of a circle. Your hands come almost straight back out. So really pay attention to that. We want that nice high pull in, but you have to make clearance for your blade. So when you get right into the body, right here, then your hands should go down a couple inches to get some good clearance. So watch how they come in and they're almost at the same height going back out, okay? And let's see, if we look back at Olivia and Adelaide back here, see pulling in towards the body, into the release. Okay, we have decent positions with the body. You have shoulders behind the hips. But Adelaide, you'll notice kind of how low your hands are, and that's what happens every once in a while with your stroke there. So it's pretty much down by where your belt would be if you were wearing one there. Olivia, that height's pretty good. It looks like you could be maybe a little bit stronger through the core just to be holding yourself steady. See how your blade has been out for a little while. You can see it over by Lena on the other side. Let's go ahead and keep moving that. Good. Oh, okay, so now we're on to Louisa, Jessie, Isabel, and I think is that Emma? Sorry if it's not, but we're looking here through the release. It's hard with the sunshine to kind of see stern pair here and what's going on, but we can look back at Isabel and Emma if that's her right now. I don't know if that is. Isabel, you know how I've been talking about sitting up a little bit taller at the release. Check out kind of what your body's doing. See how it kind of starts to curl down a little bit lower, and you could be sitting up stronger and taller at the release. So I just want you to kind of pay attention to that. And how your blade's coming out a little early because your hands are traveling down instead of firm up to your mark. So right now the blade should still be in the water like Louisa's is up in front of you, but your blade's already coming out, and that if you stayed up taller and pulled up taller, it'd be better there. So that's Cara, not Emma. Sorry about that, Cara. You just look so pro with that visor on. I just couldn't tell. All right, so right now, Cara, you're at a good height with your handle there. You were starting to be iffy with breaking that wrist again every once in a while as you were kind of getting tired. So paying attention to keeping that outside arm firm and flat. Let's see, we can see Jessie and Louisa a little bit better now. Jessie, that was pulling in pretty low. See, it's down right there by your lap. So when we say pulling into your lap, that's what we're talking about. And if Louisa, you're doing a really nice job. The one thing with you is I don't think we're going to see much of a circle. We'll have to check. We have to look at it again. But that height, guys, is a good height for coming into the release. She's up to about the bottom of her sports bra there. So Jessie, kind of see the difference in where the height of your hands are. And Isabel too. Let's see. Pulling through. Thinking about nice, high, firm. Of course, she's in the sunshine, so we can't see it that well. Yeah, so Louisa, I think we could see a clearer circle from you. You're getting a bit of one, but you could get a little more clearance there. And then Jessie just thinking about pulling in really nice, high, and firm with that outside hand up to the bottom of the sports bra. That was a better stroke. Cara, pretty good job getting up to your mark there. And yeah, Cara, that's looking really nice, except if you look at if I drew a line back and forth, you'd see that your hands are coming in high, but they're going out almost exactly the same height. So your hands don't go down and then stay down as you're going up the slide. They're kind of going straight in and out, which is going to give you no room to square up right there. All right, let's see, who is this? Okay, we have Emma, Delphi, Ella, and Sam. Okay, so Emma always pulls in really nice and high. That's one reason she is always in bow, but don't change that, Emma, just because you don't want to be bousy. So you're pulling in really nice and high, but you don't make much of a circle. You had a little one there, but look how, oh, sorry. I just started a little timer. Hold on a sec. Okay, good. Look how, with your circle, or like how close your blade is to the water as you're coming back up the slide. See there? So then you all of a sudden have to lower your hands again. So then your blade goes up in the air. I know we're not supposed to look at catches, but that's what happens. So if you're not getting enough of a circle at the release, then all of a sudden you have to get that clearance later on for your blade. Okay, and now let's look. Delphi, I think with your outside arm, you're not quite pulling through the body. I don't see your elbow driving through the body much. You're just kind of pulling right in and keeping your elbow tucked right next to your hip. And we want to see that elbow drive through the body, and we want that outside wrist to stay nice and flat as you do that. Ella, if you look at your body position, we were talking about how you're starting to collapse down. So see how it's kind of collapsing, it's becoming like a C. And I want you to pay attention to what happens to your blade, because you're definitely coming out pretty early, because you're starting to sink lower into the boat, and then that makes that handle start coming out of the water. Not handle, makes that blade start to come out of the water, if you look at it right now. See? Okay, and we still have like a foot of drive that you could get with that blade fully concealed. And you'll notice it just starts slipping out faster and faster the rest of this stroke. And Sam, if you pay attention here, your blade was already out. So yours was out even sooner than Ella's. So Sam, thinking about keeping a nice long stroke, you want to get those hands, you want to bury that blade right there, and you want to keep it in the water, 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 and it slips out. So you could keep it in the water probably another 4 inches solidly down there. So what you need to do is think about relaxing your upper back a little bit, allowing your right elbow to drive through your body so that we could maybe even see some air in between the, kind of the crease in your elbow and your body. So really driving it through, allowing yourself to get those extra inches. And you're also leaning away a little bit from your rigger there, Sam. So if you keep your body weight to your side, that's going to help you stay connected and drive that elbow through. So make sure that you think about not leaning away from your side. You can tell by your elbow going down towards the gunnel. So see how that elbow is pointing down. You want it to be up a lot higher off of it. We want it to pretty much be parallel to the gunnel of the boat. That's going to help you. Okay, so everyone just kind of watching the flow, watching if you feel like there's circles being made. Ella, you can see the path of that blade. Oh, okay, now we're on to the next one. All right. Oh, this is a short blurb here that we put in there just for looks. No, I'm just kidding.
My bad.
We'll get another shot of the 4 in a second. And you'll be able to see it better. Okay. All right. So now we're on the bow 4 here. We've got Violet and Anna, Amanda, and Audrey. So checking yourselves out here. Let's look as you're coming into the release, what your hands are doing. Pause. Okay, so Audrey, not bad. You could drive that elbow more behind you so that you feel more comfortable, because right now it looks like you almost feel like you're going to get stuck there. So allow that elbow to have some space behind you, but you're pulling into a really good mark. Amanda, we've talked to you about this a little bit. We need to work on that core strength so that you can sit up a little bit taller. So see how all of a sudden it looks like you shrunk quite a bit and you're starting to curl, kind of like what we saw there with Ella, starting to curl down toward the bottom of the boat. And that causes your blade to come out a little bit early. So we want you to sit up a little bit taller. And Anna, you're getting pretty nice height with your handle into your body, but look at your outside wrist. So there's a good example of when we need to put a spoon on the wrist. Okay, so you really want to pay attention there and try to keep that wrist flat and just pull straight through, nice and firm. Violet, you're not quite to the release yet, so I don't know if maybe you were a little bit behind or maybe they were a little bit ahead there, but you tend to pull in at a decent height. Sometimes you break your outside wrist too. We're not on that side, so you're not going to be able to see that. But because you're in the bow, sometimes the bow is up higher and you're lighter, and so you're going to have to pull higher than you think because in order to keep the blade buried. So if you look at your blade right now, it's almost all the way out. It has like a quarter left, and you still have a decent amount of your stroke left that we'd like it to be buried. So you're going to have to start getting used to being maybe even a little uncomfortable having to pull in a little bit higher in order to keep your blade buried through the stroke, which I know sometimes is difficult, but as a lighter person and being in the bow, that tends to be something you have to get used to. Okay. Good. And Violet, see how you're so straight up and down too? We want you to get a little bit more layback, relax your upper back a little bit, and allow yourself to get behind your hips a little bit more so you can get a little more length. And Anna, you too, you're staying pretty, well, I guess that's okay. This angle's kind of hard to tell. Anna, that's an okay position. You could maybe get a little bit more layback. Violet, you're like almost forward of your hips there. Very vertical. So we really want to try to get you more towards where that arrow is pointing. Yep. All right, good. Let's see. Now you can just kind of watch the flow of what your hands are doing. All right, so this is the beginning of a piece, so it's a little bit rocky at first. This is in the 4. So we've got Bella, Faye, EJ, and Sophie. Now, there's a lot of different things I could point out, but remember, we're just looking at releases. And you'll notice that the height that we're pulling into, we'll pause and kind of see where everybody's at the release. Okay, so EJ's height is really nice, okay, and so you see how when we say drive the elbow through the body, how there's like some space there, so I can see the water on the other side. That's pretty good. She's pulling all the way in to her body. She of course, I don't want you necessarily hitting yourself like she does, and we don't want any fractured ribs, but the idea of that flat outside arm, flat outside wrist, and getting as much length as you can without injuring yourself, EJ, is a good thing, okay? Bella, this stroke is pretty good with the height. You could, a lot of times you tend to start going down towards your lap a little bit more, so let's continue, or we will continue watching. And Faye, you could pull up a little bit higher. We'll pause it again here. Okay. Sophie, your height there, I feel like it could have been a little bit higher as well. Your blade is out kind of early. Sometimes you brush it around the back end just a little bit. So thinking about, high, firm, steady, pop it down into that circle, give yourself that space, and then you can start moving out. Bella, once again, that position's not bad. And you notice how Bella, you can see some space there too, because she's pulling through her body. And everyone's position in layback is pretty good here. So everybody else paying attention to this as a good example of shoulders behind the hips. But look at Bella. Look how she's not rigid. Okay. So when we say we don't want you to be rigid, we want your upper back to be somewhat relaxed. Look at Bella's stroke there and how it almost looks like her shoulders are super relaxed and she's just being really firm with her outside arm and with her core. Okay, so she's not slumped down. It looks strong, but she's not in one rigid straight line with her back. Okay, and EJ looks like that. Sophie looks like that. Faye, we can't see from this angle. You might be a little bit tight, but I think all 4 of you are looking decent there. Okay. Now, if we are looking for circles being made, there's not a lot happening with any of you. Okay, so look at the height of your handles as they come in and out, and you'll notice that they pretty much look like they're going straight in and straight out. with the height of that handle. So from here, coming away, Bella went down a little bit. Faye looks like it went straight out. EJ maybe went down like half an inch. I didn't see Sophie on that one. So we'll watch through this one. Coming into the mark. Oh, and Sophie was a little bit low there. Okay, so Sophie, you had the chance to make a circle, or you didn't have the chance because your hands didn't come up high enough in the first place. So you kind of made the circle as you were finishing your stroke instead of finishing and then making the circle. And you did it again there. See how the blade came out early? And that's because it's kind of coming down into your lap. So it's like you're starting that process a little too soon. EJ, and Faye will kind of look a little closer on this one. The height of your hands coming in and out from the body. Okay, so they're nice and high, coming in firm there. Good. Faye could have kept the hands up a little higher. And you both made slight circles. So we just want them to be a little more, just a little bit more, like an inch more from each of you to make a bigger circle so you have full clearance to square that blade and have it ready. So we just want really good clearance, really good set, and we just want you to be able to set yourselves up for that. Yeah, like EJ, so your hands are about as high as they were when you were pulling in there. So that's not going to give you any room to square it up, and then you're going to have to lower your hands later on. Okay, and Bella, looking back at you, that's getting a little bit lower with the hands. Sometimes that's still not bad, but maybe an inch higher when you're pulling through would be helpful for you to also make that circle. And see, yeah, it's traveling down. See there? That's probably 50% of your strokes are down there, and they could be firmer and higher. Okay, so still, everyone see all four of them pretty relaxed positions with their upper backs, but very strong and still tall. Okay, so it's a really good example of how to keep your outside arm firm, and how to get some good layback while not collapsing. Okay. Okay, on to the next one. Audrey wanted to point out the guy in the inner tube.
What's up, inner tube man?
I did too, that's why I said that. Okay, so Alice coming into the release. Actually, we'll just pause it when we get to the release so we can look at everybody at the same time, at least where your hands are. Okay. All right, so Alice has really nice position here, and she's gotten better. She still slightly leans away from her side, just a little bit, but she used to do it way more. Now she's actually able to have a flat outside arm. Her wrist might be breaking slightly, but look at how nice her elbow's driving through her body, and her handle height is right where we're talking about. Okay, that's really nice. Okay. Emma, a little bit low there. Your blade came out a little bit early, so we want to think about being a little more firm, hands staying high. I think we might have caught you guys a little late on this one. I think that some of the blades already started popping out because Melise, you tend to pull in a little bit higher than that normally, and that's Taylor. Yes, Taylor, that was a little bit low with the hands, but let's take it through to another stroke and stop it a little bit earlier, to see what happens with your hands. Wow, so we have people at totally different spots there. Let's go to a next stroke, because Alice was finished with stroke and Emma was only at like 3/4 drive. Ooh. Okay, all right, so we're definitely seeing some things here. Okay, so I think the fact that Alice is staying so much more connected, she's able to accelerate through faster, and Emma, you're behind, and so all of a sudden you feel like you have to slip that blade out early because Alice is already at the release, and then you're like, oh crap. So you're kind of slipping that blade out in order to keep up. So what you have to think about doing is being, a little bit stronger at the catch and accelerating through, keeping that blade buried so it can go through as quickly as Alice's does, as you're coming into that release. And keeping yourself high and firm. Melise, pretty good job. Outside elbows flat, outside wrist. You tend to do that well. Taylor, down a little too low. We want that handle to be up higher. So think about, what like we've been showing with everybody else. See how Alice's is. You saw how EJ's arm was, how we want it to be firmer, higher up towards the sports bra. Now let's watch for the path of your blades going in and out. So we'll see if you're making any circles as you come in and out. Okay, so coming in, thinking about trying to get to your mark, and then coming back out. Alice, did you notice how it went almost straight back out from where you came? So you have this great high pull, but then you're keeping your hands at that same high level to come back out. So what that means, if we could see your blade, is that your blade's practically scraping along the water, and you don't have much room to get, see, your blade is pretty much on the water. Okay, so then you don't have clearance, which means it might be, you might be hitting the blade against bad water, and in order to square it, you're gonna have to drop your hands at some point. Okay, Melise, I didn't see it. It looks like you gave yourself a little bit of room, and Taylor, it almost looks like the handle came back up. So let's look at that again. I'm gonna look back at Melise and Taylor on this one. So Taylor, hands are down. Melise, decent, could have been a little higher. And then Taylor, your hands are traveling back up. So it's almost like an opposite direction thing. So we want you to be, the handle to be higher on the way in, right here in the drive. And then, although we are going through a wake right here, so it's a little awkward, I think. So yeah, and then we want a dive down with the hands after the release. We want that circle made. And then keep them nice and steady on the way up towards Melise. Okay. That was better with steady hands coming out there, Taylor. Let's see. Watching Emma, see, it's coming down so soon, you don't really have a chance to make a circle because you kind of did your circle as you were pulling into your body, okay? All right, we'll move on to the next one. All right, so we've got Michaela, Karina, Paige, and Ava. Okay, so Michaela, this might be a little late. Let's actually go, we'll stop it a little earlier on the next one. Right here. Yeah, okay. So we're not quite there yet with everybody, but let's look at Karina. So your hands tend to come down toward your lap, and I mentioned that to you the other day, so I wanted you to be able to see this. So pretty much you have no room now, maybe like an inch, to try to make a circle and clear your blade. So you got to try and think about pulling up higher, about 2 or 3 inches higher, and pulling that elbow firm through your body. We have Paige, your blade's coming out a little early there, and I know you're used to having to pull in higher than a lot of people, and this bow was really light, so it was probably even a little bit more difficult, but you got to still try to keep that blade buried longer. Same thing, Ava, you could have maybe been an inch or 2 higher, even though I know it's awkward. Like right here, this would be perfect if you were in a boat made for your size, but you need to think about a little bit higher to keep that blade buried longer. We'll go ahead and go through here, going up, nice. And we're gonna pause it again at the release. I'm gonna try to get it right when you're into your bodies. There, okay. Okay, so Michaela, there's a little drop there at the end of the drive. You start to drop your hands a little early. So you could, once again, like we were looking at, EJ and the more experienced crew there, and how that elbow drives through the body, stays firm longer instead of dropping down. So that's one thing you can think about. And also, Michaela, thinking about relaxing that upper back. So when we talk about being really rigid, we want you to really think about allowing yourself to relax, and maybe even think about looking a little bit more like the people in the fore. And that's going to allow you that room that in your rib cage area to pull through your body a little bit more. Because right now it's almost like you're sticking your ribs out, which that's kind of scary to pull your handle in pretty close there, because your ribs are sticking out and then you're trying to bring this handle towards them. So if you allow that upper back to relax, the ribs get slightly out of your way a little bit, and you can pull through the body and not be as worried about it, okay? let's see. So pretty much the same thing. Ava, it's pretty good where your outside arm is. Once again, I think this boat is just, you know, it's a little bit high for you. That's why your blade wasn't buried as long as it could have been. But for those of you looking for a nice position, she's strong. Her outside elbow is driving through the body. She's up to her mark. And Paige, not bad either there. Karina, the stroke was a little better for you, but we could still see you just having a stronger position from your lower back because it looks like you're kind of collapsing a little bit. Now let's watch the path of the handles. So we're looking for the circles as they come in and out from your body. Okay, so look at the height that they come in, and then do you make a circle down and away? I saw Paige just make a circle a little bit. Coming down through the drive here, handles into the body, and then do the hands go down. Now Ava, yours went straight in and out. So see where the height of your handle is right now? Okay, it's just as high as it was coming in. So remember, you need to lower the handle, keep it low. You get it over your knees before you allow that handle to start rising up again. Okay, so you can see how yours goes straight in and out. Let's see. Karina, yours kind of went up through your stroke when we want to keep it level and down, and then your hands get to rise later on. So pulling in high, making a circle here is what we want down, closer to your legs, get it over the knees before it comes up. Okay, so we're seeing kind of those of you that already dive down toward your lap, then you don't really have a circle to make, and your handle kind of wobbles because you're not sure where to keep it as it comes back out. So Michaela, that was down by your lap. So you kind of made a circle, but it was by rowing down into your lap. So it was like a diagonal movement of the handle instead of creating a circle with your handle. Alright, so hopefully you guys could see some things from that. Alright, so Audrey and I have been sitting here studying it, and we definitely talked about all this before we were talking about it. I know it's a lot to listen to. If you just want to go back and watch your own part, that's a good idea. But hopefully you watched the whole thing so you could see good examples and what other people are doing, because you might be doing that too. And I may have pointed something out more to them than I did to you, but it gives you some good ideas. And you want to add anything? No? Okay. So really nice job. We're going to continue doing these videos every week, and I hope that this was helpful for you guys.
Bye, guys.